Hello, my friends. Hello. How you doing, Warriors? Everyone doing okay? Ingmar, Mike, Blake,
Good
AJ,
morning, Coach.
Ryan, Mike. Morning, Blake. Ryan's here. Mike Green's all right. Brand's all right. Everyone's doing okay. John Hawkins is doing okay. So everything's cool. So let's take a look at things before the number. Get you guys prepped by the best team on the net. So Dixie still ran into little problems. Tried that 101.50 a couple times, right? Yesterday morning, and then had a minor new high. Look at this fractal. So I just want to point out, like every other formation, that they all happen the same and are traded the same on different TFs. Look at this. So this was, I believe, yesterday morning, or this was 1, 2, 3, just a marginal new high. RSI under 7. So you started, nice little divergence there. So yeah, I'm still not sure this is a dollar bottom. I still think maybe 131 is coming in cable. And again, just a little profit taking here. Ryan, I had this black line drawn. Good morning to you, buddy. For a long time. So I
Morning,
didn't
sir.
know until you brought it up. Like 148 was a big level because I certainly wasn't expecting 148. But oh yeah, look at this. Now you know why uh, Ryan has had that level. Look at that. Look left. Pretty important level, when you say, for the
Morning,
last
mate.
huh?
Good morning, sir.
So what do you think, bro? We can penetrate this level here at 48, or may this be completing this bounce that we had off major support, which is like key if it
Yeah,
takes
it's
it out, right?
it's got to crack on. I think the longer it goes without breaking higher, we may see a steeper pullback, or we just might keep this uptrend going. Maybe a pullback 147, 146 and a half, something like that, and then we keep going. But it's a decent stretch point up here into that 148 high at
Yeah,
148 149 area. Like I always say, that we've had all the news. Now what? The market needs something more to keep it going, which could be more trade deals handed out. He's in Saudi Arabia. He's got a load of tech buddies over there as well. Musk, Altman,
they're
Nvidia
all there,
guy,
huh?
Wang.
Wow.
So everyone's looking at the oil aspect for his trip to Saudi, but I think the tech aspect is probably maybe the bigger news we're going to hear from that side of things. And if that's the case, it's going to be good for risk again, isn't it? Another a deal with the Saudis, good for stocks, good for risk, and off we go again.
And oil doesn't look bad either if it penetrates 64, which was the last high before the retest. Um, you know, uh, you don't go, yeah, you don't go to the Middle East without, even though you're tech guys, without oil being part of the
No, of course not.
discussion.
Energy, yeah,
Yeah,
energy in total.
you know, that the last couple meetings with Iran haven't been going well. They're like stuck on different red lines. Do you think the trip to the Middle East could also be to prep people in the area that, negotiations aren't working and they're going to have to do it the other way?
Well, I don't know. I think it might be. I think it might be the opposite because look at what Hamas has just done. Secret. They reached out apparently secret meetings with U.S. envoys to get this to offer this guy to get released. The U.S. is
Yeah.
saying, we've got good talks with Iran. Could be the opposite. He could be going for the Nobel Peace Prize again.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it's real possible. So we'll
But
see.
what the I'm
Well,
interested to know what conversation he's going to have if he's going to talk about oil, because obviously on one side, you'd like prices higher because then it's good for his producers, but on the other side, higher oil prices means higher gasoline prices, which
right.
is what he doesn't want. So it's like, what side of the fence does he land on?
Yeah. No producer wants to drill, baby, drill at 62.
Yeah.
I don't. Where do you think the level would be to get U.S. producers to go out there and spend money to start drilling holes again?
I'm not up to speed on where the current production levels are. I think it's north of 70, perhaps, but
Okay.
it's
Wow.
depends on the operation, doesn't it?
Yeah.
A small lean operation can maybe get away with 60, 65. A big company's going to need higher. So, but I don't know where the levels are. You probably need. I think you got Tracy on this week.
Today.
That might. Is it today? Oh, there you go. Well, the perfect person to ask.
Okay. All right. Appreciate your input, and that's very interesting that it could be going the other way. I guess there's um, I think probably Netanyahu has no idea what's going on. You know, they were hugging and they were bros, and he's making peace deals with the Houthis. So anyway, it's wild. Um, what about the euro? Okay, man. Good morning, my trading warrior brother.
Morning, Dale.
Have we had enough, or we have to probe lower? Is this a good enough level, or do we need 10.5 or 10?
Yeah,
Uh,
that whole zone there in the mid 110s, there's a lot of confluence, longer term trend lines as well. It's going to, well, the US CPI can give us an idea whether it's going to, on a second test, going to hold again or not. Get through that 110, what is it, 4060 or so.
yeah,
Could have a look into the 109s and then think again. It could it could be enough, especially if we get a lower CPI, because all those tariff shenanigans there could be some expectations for a sticky print, but if it comes in lower, which on the last fixings apparently it could come in just a tenth below
yeah.
expectations. But I thought we would have a relatively hot print this month, but. Yeah, it could be enough. I don't have a euro position because I'm a bit torn between US and EU not getting along very well on the trade talks, and
Yeah.
on the other hand, has the dollar done enough versus majors? Yeah, and I'm really going to wait for the CPI to tell me what
Okay.
to about it, but
Fair.
they are decent levels in the mid 110s. It would
I
be
mean,
interesting.
a week ago we were hoping we would get this because it kept holding,
Yeah,
right? Now we're
yeah,
here. But it's new evidence. Not only that it
yeah,
goes to a price, it's how it goes to a price. So,
yeah. I'm
um,
actually I'm personally more positive on cable than euro
yeah,
dollar if the dollar would have seen a top. And
yeah. I'd rather see this going the other way. I know you're short, but if I'm a dollar bear, I'd rather see it going the way it was in April. Um, euro outperforming cable instead of the
well, I
other
mean,
way around.
it's not really it's not what the data tell us, and it's not what the sentiment is telling us.
Yeah,
No later than yesterday, Trump was saying that EU is perhaps even worse than China in, in the negotiations. But uh, no, clearly he wants to, and his administration wants to keep the pressure on Europe. But it's not the only reason why we are here. I think in euro sterling, it's just a general. Positive also atmosphere in the a bit more positive now in the markets. Sterling is a risk currency. There's no
okay.
look at sterling pairs. I mean, they're all doing pretty well. So that is something that we need to bear in mind when we're trading sterling as well. It's not only your opinion about about the dollar that counts, but it's the what does sterling represent? Obviously, if the data turn negative in the sterling will go down faster than the euro. But now, for the time being, I'm rather,
Big
if I want
level
to sell
here.
it, yeah, if I want to sell it, I'm still short euro sterling. I
I
think
know you are.
yeah, we're. I mean, there
80,
was a big
about
crossroad.
83.80.
There was a big crossroad for me, 84.35.50, and we're below. So from here, I'm just going to trade the price. And if it goes back above 84 and a half, it could rally a little bit. But for as long as we are below there, I'm
Yeah.
going to remain mildly bearish on the euro sterling.
Check that out, Kay. I mean, you have it sitting right on a weekly. It takes that out.
Mm.
It could really go.
Yeah, well, even though this move, if you look at the weekly move, it's been a relatively rapid move and
Yeah.
thorough move if
Both
you
ways.
compare to other weekly moves. But yeah, it's still a grind more than a drop, I would say, after that initial setback. I'm I don't think euro sterling is going to lose another big figure or two big figures in the next 24 or 48 hours. But no, it's just for as long as
Yeah.
the music plays, I'm dancing.
Oh, no kidding. You know the hokey pokey?
Yes.
All right.
Hokey cokey, bloody Americans.
uh, all right.
Hey, but
So
by the way, I
go
just
ahead,
I
please.
just noticed, Dale, that Greg is here.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
I thought I saw that on Reuters, but I thought it was a misprint. So Wizard is in the house.
Yeah, yeah.
How
Hey.
are you, buddy? I know you have come because you have something to say. So
Well, yeah. I
I
mean,
mean, you
last
don't
time,
come. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, last time when we discussed, we talked about potential higher rally on the US dollar.
Yeah.
Because the US yields somehow, to me, it looks like they have some incomplete business here to the upside, but we definitely have a very important day here. And this potential inflation data could possibly soften, especially if we maybe consider that, let me show the screen, that crude oil has been trading most of the April to the downside, right? So I think that maybe the inflation, who knows, will surprise, and this could maybe possibly send some new, cause some new reversals on the US yields. But when looking at the treasuries, last time when we spoke, we said that this wave C is still missing, right? So
Yeah.
basically, I see some very nice support down here around 109. And if we manage to reach this level, I would assume that we could stabilize, and that would be the perfect time when the US dollar could
Yeah.
turn to the downside. Keep in mind that we
Yeah.
also still have plenty of gaps open from this from the start of the week, which normally will get filled. So what I'm seeing is the dollar is coming higher and it's coming into some very nice resistance. Of course, the ranges are quite big here. So 101 and up to 102.85. This is pretty
Wow.
important, I would say. The whole zone, unfortunately, it's a big zone, but I think that in this week we could see some interesting reversals here for the fifth wave, which in my opinion
Yeah.
is still missing.
Okay.
Euro
Yeah.
dollar,
Yeah.
for example, has a very nice levels here around 1.11 down to 1.10. That's whole area. Now, if someone maybe just wants to some kind of a confirmation that we completed this correction on the euro, obviously it would be a daily close above 112.66.
Yeah.
Then we would have an overlap with this previous correction and most likely would mark end of a wave 4. And then in such case, if someone will maybe look for some opportunities on the long side, will exactly know where to put the stop loss or invalidation level would be definitely at the lows of a wave 4. But
Yeah.
for some aggressive setups, maybe that's the region right now. But as you know, in front of this data, it can be a bit risky.
Yeah.
But overall, when this dollar, if this dollar, it doesn't mean that I will be right. If dollar will come to the downside, I still think that commodity currencies would be very attractive. Here we have a potential right shoulder even of the bottom head and shoulders formation. We are on the Aussie at very nice support here, very close to 0.6340 area for this correction. So I'm just looking, right. Okay, so you
Yeah,
can
it's
see,
really showing relative strength during this dollar bounce.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So I mean, it looks very good. I mean, it has something to do obviously with stock market that is holding up pretty well. But in even stocks could see some retracement. On futures, we are still seeing these gaps that are unfilled. But even if this will cause one more dip here on Aussie, I still think that that's a pretty nice and strong support down here. And
Where's that, 2.5, or where's your dotted line underneath it? Oh, okay. So if it broke to 2, you have an area underneath it at 62.14. Was that halfway back or 38%?
yeah,
Your
I mean,
dotted line.
hold this zone is very important.
Okay. So 62.14 it has to hold.
Yeah, exactly. Around there.
Okay.
So Kiwi obviously is in a very similar situation here. We already retested this support and maybe even some small wedge here could be playing out as well, trying to complete this correction. Also, maybe it's not a bad idea to look at dollar versus Chinese yuan this time, because if you look on a smaller time frame, from new highs, we basically few weeks back, we cleared these 2022 highs, and now we are turning to the downside in 5 waves, right? And we know that this normally suggests that this bull run is finished and that after some kind of a correction here, we would expect more weakness. Now, if you look here on correlations, obviously with US gold, always when we have seen some serious reversals, right, on dollar Chinese yuan, gold made impressive moves to the upside. It basically gold already made some very nice moves so far, but looks like that if this one will keep pressing lower, that gold will, after the consolidation that I'm seeing on a smaller time frame, in my opinion, will move even higher here. So, but this correction could maybe last. And as I said last time, from an Elliott wave perspective, I think that silver still looks much more attractive here. Especially if we see another drop towards 31.50 or maybe $31, I think that would be a massive support down here.
Yeah, I'm looking for 30.50.
30, yeah, I mean, that's the 61.8%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And
So
that
maybe,
should happen during the gold correction.
yeah, of course,
Right.
obviously. I mean, gold is also looks like it's turning to the downside right now ahead of the data and not really showing any kind of
The gold
confirmation.
silver, do you have, I thought there might be one more surge in the gold silver ratio, but it looks like it's given up the ghost here, Greg.
I mean, we are still just chopping around this 61.8%. So
Yeah.
overall, I just think that gold silver ratio, the next big move will rather be to the downside rather than higher
It
here.
could be big. It could be like it was back in 2020.
Yeah, it
Right.
could be.
Yeah,
And that's
like
one of
go ahead.
that's one of the reasons why I also love silver a bit more at this stage here.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Cryptocurrencies are doing pretty well. And I think that cryptos will stay in this bull run. But keep in mind that in Bitcoin, whenever we move into a new high here, we could be looking to complete the impulsive sequence from 2022 November lows. Because if you look at these Bitcoin cycles, after each pullback that lasted for around a year, 13 months, following that pullback, we have seen 35 months of a bull run. It happened from 2015. It happened also from 2019 lows. And again, if you project from 2022 November lows, you will get the projection for October of 2025 of this year. So it means that we have still some room left for this bull run. But as soon as we will start seeing new all-time highs, there will be again a lot of massive optimism going on. And I just think that later this year, we should be prepared for complete opposite moves here.
I heard for you know that term, and I know you do a lot of crypto analysis, Greg. Bitcoin dominance, and
Yeah.
that it may be beginning to fade, and a lot of these crypto traders think that it's going to be alt season again, while Bitcoin's on its way to those highs. That the
Yeah.
altcoins are, they're like the trash, or the highly speculative stuff is going that there's going to be a lot of moves in that stuff.
Yeah, and that's also very easily visible here on this chart. We have Ethereum dominance at the top, Bitcoin dominance at the bottom, and you can clearly see that there's a lot of interest now in the Ethereum. So it looks like that there is alt season right now going on, and usually this, as you said, these coins that are not very attractive, that are just a poor speculations, and this could actually really telling us that we will see the final phase here on this cycle, because traders, investors are interested in those coins that looks very attractive because they are cheap, not because they are good.
Right. You have a wave count on Fartcoin?
On Farcoin, no.
You get more subscribers that have gastrointestinal problems. All right, buddy. Anything else?
No, I'm sure that
My jokes aren't funny today. That's for sure.
I was laughing inside, Dale. I was laughing inside. Hey, Greg, I want to thank you for coming here today, especially with CPI upcoming, and we've literally got CPI coming out in less than 10 minutes, and I think this is gonna be a big one. Greg, you said something that you don't think inflation's gonna be. You think it's gonna come in a little cool, do you?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
the expectations are what, around, for no change on the yearly basis, but on a monthly basis, slightly up. But I think that they won't be any big surprise to the upside.
I mean, we have some, obviously deflationary pressures, as you pointed out, with crude oil,
Yeah.
but it's all about inflate. The hard numbers that we're going to get today should be interesting, and you're right, they might come in a little light, but everybody's going to be anticipating that inflationary pressures are going to increase as we move forward. So I would say if the data is weak, it might be fairly limited, but at the same time, we do have we're starting to see the dollar find some sellers up here, and you were talking about the dollar index coming into a range. I still think the dollar index is in a bear flag pattern. I have a lot of people that have, said, "Hey, it's a false breakdown." There's a lot of support down here for the dollar now. But I agree. I have the exact same zone. It's because it's a 38% retracement and previous support right here. That's why you can see that highlighted area, 38% retracement, previous support, which is this green line, which I believe is all going to be very critical resistance in the dollar index moving forward, which, if it's a bear flag pattern, this is the other thing to think about.
It shouldn't go that high if it's a flag.
If it's a flag, it'll stop where we're at. Like, that's why today's data might be pretty important, because if it is weak, the dollar responds. I was just talking to Michael Brown from Pepperstone, not in the trades room, in the chat room yesterday. I have to go back to my conversation yesterday. We were talking about let's see, yeah, we're here, right here. I was like, I tweeted something yesterday, said a lot of dollar bears have been taken to the cleaners, blah, blah, blah. They've been parading around CNBC. I mean, you guys know. I mean, everybody's been like dollar bear, dollar bear, dollar bear. Obviously, the dollar has bottomed over the last couple of weeks. Michael was saying, guess who was bearish on the dollar on CNBC on April 22nd? And I had no idea he meant him. I was thinking it was Kramer. This is a conversation we were having yesterday. And the one thing that I said to him is right here about a lot of institutional traders have been very bearish the dollar. They've literally gotten stopped out over the last couple of weeks. So now positioning is a lot more square. So if you think about like if this is a bear flag, and I have to go back to the idea that, you know, if you own dollars and you own a lot of dollars, maybe an overabundance of dollars, and you have this very erratic Trump administration, you have to try to risk manage around that. And it's very difficult when your P&L is shifting. For anybody that's managed any amounts of money, you know, it's not easy when you're seeing, you know, 10% swings in your portfolio week to week. So if people want to reduce dollar positions and continue to diversify away from the dollar and into euros or sterling or whatever else they want to buy, you know, I think that is a trend that is in place at least for the next few years. Not saying that the dollar is going to go down in all one fair swoop or one fell swoop, but what's going to happen is you're going to see this dollar, you know, diversification process. That's why I think that the dollar rally might be over here. And if we do have a bear flag pattern and it does complete, Dale, look at this. It points to 90, which would mean the euro gets to about 122, 123 in my estimation, which would be pretty freaking crazy, right? I mean, you think about like, I mean, the euro may stall around the 120 level, which in my view is more of a long-term triangle formation. This is the black line, right, that you can see right here.
Yeah.
But that's like 120, and I don't think that's impossible at this point. So anyway, it's a crazy one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just one thing on Greg, that was really great historical work you did on Bitcoin. That's nice.
And also, and to mention that, Dale, on Forex Analytics on Bitcoin, if you guys want Greg's analysis, you can also get it here right on the Elliott Wave tabs. He actually uploads these. Greg, you do these once a day. I know you do more intraday stuff on your own feed and whatnot, but these are updated every day, correct?
Yeah, exactly. Or at least if anything important changes, I will make it up to date.
Awesome.
For 8 years, he's always on time with analysis.
He always is.
9 years.
Real quick, Ryan, we have data coming up in 3 minutes. What are you thinking as we go into the CPI? Are we expecting hot data, weak data?
We're expecting unchanged data. No change to the headline 2.4, no change to the core 2.8 year on year. I'm looking at this one from the perspective that I think banks, economists, whoever, are getting far too undovish about rate cuts right now.
And then Goldman push them out to like December.
Yeah, they were seeing 3 cuts, now it's 1, and coming in December. Citi have knocked it back, their next cut to July from June. Others have done the same. So I don't know what I want. I don't know if I want a hot number to get the dollar running higher and then sell it, or be justified in all those guys being wrong by saying inflation coming down to 2.2% and the core down to 2.5, 2.6%.
I'm with you. I wish that we had a hot number to sell into. That'd be nice. That would be nice. So
yeah, I'm still long some dollar yen, so that'd be nice as well.
Yeah. All right. Well,
we can flip it at 150.
Yeah, there you go. Flip it at 150, baby. You've been riding that one up. K-Man, what are you thinking today with the data? What are you looking to trade? Any ideas on what you're expecting?
Yeah, buying dips in cable, perhaps even Aussie dollar. For the dollar side, if it's not too hot, obviously, and then mild numbers, maybe pretty decent for risk. So I'm still keeping my risk stuff via.
You're still short dollar MEX, right?
Yeah, that as well. Yeah.
I joined the party with you yesterday, so I'm happy to be on that train finally. It's I think yesterday Mexico, and if you guys didn't catch this, we were talking about it in the chat room. Mexico moved on a cattle headline yesterday.
Wow.
Something of the likes. Yeah, I don't know why it was with such a delay, because it only moved when Scheinbaum commented. It didn't move on the original article, which came out 12
Oh.
hours before.
You know, Hillary made a lot of money in cattle when they were in office. She read a Wall Street Journal article. She said
Who?
that's how she was able to do it.
Who
Hillary
was that?
Clinton. Hillary Clinton.
Oh, we-
Data's weak.
Soft-ish, but
Damn.
Unchanged.
just
Headline
as
down.
Mr. Brown expected in our room. So well done, Mike.
Yeah, Michael Brown was saying, hey, that data is going to be weak. So he was just in here just saying that just a bit ago. So
How's the
euro
dollar
dollar is
acting?
above 111.25. And I'm going to just say this right now just because I'm long. You know, if it starts breaking above 111.50, we'll probably be trading back at 112. Now that we've squeezed out all the late longs that were getting long around the 115 level, that I think is potentially possible from here on out. So yeah. All right. Well, guys, it's been great having you here today. Greg, it's been awesome having you here. Steve is here, but we're gonna see Steve on the Morning Edge in about 45 minutes. But you got Tracy here today.
She's not here yet.
She's got 5 minutes. That's right. She's coming off of Ninja Trader Live. So she'll be here in 5 minutes. So real quick, what do you think about this data, Ryan? You going to lean into some dollar shorts here?
No, not on this one. I'm more likely to buy this little dip, maybe, because the core was unchanged. Headline came down, but the core was unchanged. So we're not. Inflation is slowly creeping lower, but not fast enough.
Well, you know, the stock market initially liked the data. I mean, we saw S&P's rally. I mean, obviously we did, but as you know, we were just talking about, the data may be weak-ish, but that's not what expectations are going to be in the weeks ahead. So people are probably a little tepid trying to buy equities up here on weak data because you know it's going to be strengthening on as
it's already coming back now.
It's time to correct the correction.
Correct the correction is correct. That's right.
Yeah, that's
so Dale, now that we've done this and we've rallied sharply here in the S&P, you fading it?
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm buying NVIDIA puts and Apple puts.
Oh, Nvidia's earnings are in 15 days on the 28th. So you got 15 good days to ride that baby out.
Apple really has been the weakest on this recovery.
It sure has. Apple looks like crap. I mean, I know they've already made a lot of headway and changing their supply chain and manufacturing stuff out of India and whatnot. But man, I'll tell you, I'd agree with you, Dale. This has been a really lackluster move, and that trend line right there is pretty much all I care about as far as Apple goes at this stage in the game. So what else? What else are you looking to buy puts on?
I'm not as bearish as I was in the beginning of the year, and don't have the same kind of conviction. But just out of principle as a trader, I was looking for 5,800 on the bounce, and if you pull up NVIDIA, even though it looks pretty good, to me a lot of these things look like rising wedges, Blake. And
when the hell's my NVIDIA? There it is. Okay, I'm sorry.
So that's okay. So yeah.
So you're looking at it more like this.
A daily, put up like a daily, daily. Stretch it out. No, from the lows at 80 up, but your chart looks too compressed. You can't see the wedge. It's off the lows. Yeah, there you go. So you have kind of like a rising wedge here. That's it. And on declining volume, it could break out, but this is so I wasn't trying to short it at 90 or 80, but here we are in between 128, 61.8. It's a decent area in case there's a turn or a surprise. We'll see. But a pro would cover this up and say, this is pretty good rally to sell. if they believe that what happened in the prior couple months isn't complete. And you know, I know a lot of people are looking for the melt up now. And now it's gone further than the retracement traders would like. And so Greg is here. Wave 4 completed at 4,800. Now we're on our way to 7,000. Grega?
He left. He had probably
Oh,
had to
good.
check out. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was. But and I think there could be. But you know what? There could be if we even washed out the April low. There would still be a melt up. Okay, that's what I think. And it was a Sigma event, and you know, they've gotten all the good news I think they're going to get for a while, and it's just a level thing. You know, if someone said when we were down there in early April, would you sell the S&Ps on a rally to 5,800 if they got back up there? You probably would have said yeah, but now they're here. So now
I saw a really good meme. It was on
what?
gold. Gold was at like when it was at 2,100, there was no one buying gold, and then now that's at 3,500, everybody's buying gold. You know, it's
Yeah.
that whole situation. I mean,
Yeah. So
it's
that's what I'm
funny.
doing with the market, and you know, I'm not in heavy, but I have a position just in case we get a turn up here.
All right, Ryan. Before I'm sure Dale's going to go look for Tracy. Ryan, what are your thoughts going into this session? Anything that you're going to be trading here? I know dollar yen just hit new highs after that weak data.
Yeah, it did. It did. Well, not did it get a new high?
Well, new high intraday. I'm sorry,
Oh,
new
intraday,
high
yeah.
intraday. Intraday.
Yeah, I want to see it. It needs to get and hold over this 2025 level for me, and then go and knock out that yesterday's high. But yeah, it's still holding in there. Dollar mix as well. I'm still watching that one. I was twitching about maybe adding a bit like you yesterday, but I didn't. I would have liked it a bit higher, but it's holding that 51, 52 epoxy level again, and it needs to get back under there.
Yeah, I want to see a nice solid. I mean, I think it's gonna eventually break down. It's just that
It's
rounded top.
going,
It's
but
just
slowly, isn't it? And I thought
it,
that move last week or whenever it was under when we got down to what 44s, was it 41s?
yeah. Well,
I thought that was on
yeah.
the way, but no, then it comes back again.
Feels like we're almost in a Biden market when you're talking about the peso here. Like you can
I'm blaming you. I was doing all right. I got 1,000 pips out of it until you stepped in, and now I'm having to wait.
Well, I mushed it for you. All right.
No jinxing
No
Yeah.
jinx.
in the community. All right.
Apparently I did. Looks like Tracy is here. So my friend, Tracy, how are you doing?
Hey guys, how are you?
Good. Hey, I'm gonna pass you over to Dale, but good to hear your voice. Tracy from Ninja Trader Live is here. So Tracy, have a great interview with Dale. I know Dale's got a lot of questions regarding crude oil. Tracy's been joining us in our chat rooms here in Forex Analytics. So make sure you guys do the same. Take advantage of the Liberation offer. Remember, we are 40% off our monthly subscriptions, and we're keeping that on for a little bit longer. So it is a limited time offer. So Tracy, we'll see you in the chat rooms, and have a great interview with Dale, K-Man, Ryan, Steve. Thank you guys.
Thanks all.
Dream team. Adios. Nice job. Good trading, Ryan. Okay, all you guys. Blake. And,
Thank you, sir.
And Tracy, you believe in liberation, right?
I believe in liberation. Yes, absolutely.
So to become a trader, you have to know how to win to become liberated. And
Right.
so I remember your ideas from last time, and I'm pretty sure that you stuck with them, even though we had this stock market meltdown that took the metals down and everything down with it. You had defined the platinum range between 1,900. We had this one last washout during the stock market 20% sell-off. So,
Yep.
yeah, and we're right back near the top of the range. It's a great range trade. You could have done it a few times, huh?
Yeah, and that's kind of what we talked about last time I was on. I was
Yeah,
like, if you can get just slightly under 900,
yeah,
and play it to 1,000, it's not, it's been very range bound until it breaks one way or another. It's just been the play consistently. I still think that it is going to break to the upside. We shall see. But in the meantime, it's been a great trade.
okay. And then I think I said, do you ever think we'll see 28, $27 silver again? And you said never. And then during the crash, it happened.
Well, during the crash, I don't think I said that never. I would never say never.
No, you did. You did. No way. Anyway, so that was a tough low to buy, but gold silver ratio has shifted. Looks like it's trying to top out. Do you favor silver over gold? It's sure acting better.
Yes, I do. Well, I think they're both important, uh, and I think you're going to still keep seeing shallow pullbacks in gold. I kind of feel like every time we see a pullback in gold, everybody thinks that's it. This rally's over. We're going back to 2000, and we just haven't. This market's just not giving you big pullbacks. And if you look at the flows in this market, retail has really just hopped on board sort of this year. We're just starting to see flows in. So, I still like, buys on pullbacks in the gold market. And I certainly still like silver is very coiled to me. And I think if you like gold, silver is going to provide you with an even larger move because if we look historically, whenever we've seen gold rallies, we've seen silver follow much later at times, but with an even larger move. And so, again, I still like pullbacks in both of these metals.
Okay, is it possible we could see 2,700 or 2,800 in gold over the next couple months?
Yeah, I mean,
I go ahead.
I think it really depends on how trade talks work and the problem is that, with this recent trade deal that we've just had with China, and I use deal in quotes, it's really still just another 90-day pause. So that uncertainty still remains. In addition, we're still seeing central banks buy a ton of gold. And really, they've been the major buyers of gold and they're buying on dips. So, unlike a normal sort of investor retail fueled rally where
Right.
you kind of have those highs and lows of sentiment and the market follows, this is really being driven by the fundamental side. And so that's why I think this rally is a little bit different than we have been seeing in the past as far as gold is concerned.
Okay. So when we look at, do you have the same conviction about copper? I know a lot of people that like precious metals also like the shortage story and the build out that how much copper we're going to need in the new economy.
Yeah, I still think this market, I still think this market has some upside to it. That's a very bullish pattern you got going on there on the one day. Uh, but again, I still like the story. I mean, earlier this year, I was looking for $5. We got it.
Yeah.
So right now, this market is consolidating. It's coiling right now, so we'll see if it springs to the upside or the downside. Again, I do favor the upside on this market because of the supply
Okay.
demand situation.
Okay. Let's get to your wheelhouse. So maybe you could explain to me why, we had one production increase. This was a crash again, took everything down. But then we had an OPEC, a Saudi or increase in output, and then there was the second one that gapped the market lower, and we've had nice recovery Most people are saying that it's, that economic growth could come back. What's behind this rally, Tracy? Do you think that it's geo at all,
I
or
think
just go ahead?
I think it's that, yeah. I mean, I think there's geopolitical issues
Yeah,
with this market right now. I also think that, we had a production increase with Saudi Arabia for April, and the numbers came in. The group as a whole actually produced 30,000 barrels less than they did
yeah.
in March, even with the production increase. And if we look at, I
How
think
does that
reality,
happen? How does that happen?
because
They just,
the
uh,
cheaters
yeah.
follow in line. That's how that happens.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because
And
everybody's
that's
made,
why they did it in the first place,
well,
to
partially,
punish the cheaters.
partially, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh,
Could they have? I mean, I'll just postulate. Could this, besides, President Trump wanting lower prices, could they have taken this market down because there might be a military strike in Iran, and it'd be better if the oil market was cushioned and unloved before that happened, rather than it being at $80 into an attack?
I don't think Iran had anything to do with it at all.
Nothing.
Uh,
Okay.
in my personal opinion, that $55 area, I mean, you could kind of call that a double bottom. That $55 area is key for producers, for US shale producers. Below that, you're going to start to see production come offline.
Trying to
And
wait for this opener to be over halfway. Like literally, actually.
Who's that?
I have no idea. Um,
Okay.
I
I
took
have
And
no,
care of it.
okay. All right. So uh, with the oil, here at 62, you're saying that in the shale production is still
At
profitable.
62, I think you're fine. You have to realize that shale producers break even is about $65, but
Okay.
that depends on what basin you're in. So some shale producers can produce below that, some above. That's kind of the medium. I mean, 62 to 65 would be, the happy place where, we don't get overproduction, we don't get underproduction, and oil
What
would
what
be.
what price level do we need for major producers to fulfill a drill baby drill promise?
Well, I don't think you're ever going to see that. In fact, if you
Okay.
listen to, I listen to all of the conference calls, and that is just not the reality of the situation anymore.
So maybe
They
we should
can't
change
do
it to
that.
glow baby glow.
Perhaps.
Trace, I mean, if we're embracing uranium, we got to change it to glow baby glow, right?
Go, baby, go. Well,
So,
it is interesting on the uranium front. I mean, it's kind of been unloved for the past few months or so, but we're starting to kind of see some interest again. So we'll
I'd
see,
say,
how that market goes. That the miner's kind of different. I was thinking of uranium price. I,
yeah,
I
where
was
you
I
go?
was looking at.
Like this?
No, that's the uranium ETF again. That's a
This?
physical uranium. No,
Sprott
that's physical
physical?
uranium. No, no, no. You don't have the spot price on there.
All right. I've had enough radiation in my lifetime anyway. So, you like uranium though, as a
So
energy
yeah, I
play.
still like uranium. I like uranium miners, particularly ones in the United States. Is going
How about
to,
this cheap one? Do you
so
know it?
I do not know that one.
Denison's. They've been around for a long time. They're in Utah. I think one of the only U.S. producers.
Yeah, UEC is
Anyway,
another US producer, which is interesting because they have processing capabilities. And we just had Google come and say they are planning on building 3 nuclear plants for their AI, although they
wow.
don't know what technology they're using yet, but also interesting announcement that we just got a couple days ago. So,
Okay, so that's pretty interesting. Now let's get to. I wanted to ask you if you were disappointed in the performance of AG so far?
So, no, I mean, I've kind of been in and out of this one, but I still like it for a long term.
Could we go 450? That would
Possible
be
we see.
back at the lows.
Yeah, I mean, if we got down, retested that trend line, I would definitely buy it again.
Okay, so I just want to, it's a two-way conversation. I want to show you the best performing silver miner. I trade them, and it's Coeur d'Alene. They took over absorbed some production, and they had excellent earnings. Where the hell is it? Wait, CDE. So the other silver stock, here it is. So compared to the other silvers, look at that. And that was earnings driven.
Nice.
So that's I keep an eye on, I look at what's the relative strength. This is the relative strength of silver. So if you ever get a pullback, this one looks pretty good. So silver, gold, oil producers, you know, agriculture's been mixed, and I know there's been times on and off where you've bought stocks at maybe fertilizer stocks, or is there anything happening in agriculture for you
So,
right now?
I was I got long MOS Mosaic
Okay,
I don't know, like a month ago, and rode it for a little bit. That was nice little ride there. Yeah, I still like it on pullbacks just because I think that the farmers are going to get a lot of help from the government just due to this tariff situation. And I know that, we saw a rally in soybeans uh,
yeah. Beans
yesterday
are
on
the strength. They're the strength of the grains. All
Well,
the other
yeah,
grain, yeah,
because China buys a lot of soybeans from the
right.
United States, so they got a lot of help from the 90-day pause slash trade deal, whatever you want to call it. So that's nice. Wheat got pretty beaten up yesterday, especially
Yeah,
after that WADC report. So
yeah, corn.
I mean, if you're a day trader, grains have been very volatile. It's been a great two-way trade in some of them.
Okay. Beans look like the strength, just like I showed Coeur d'Alene. Uh, but well, let's take a look at the grains and see what Tracy's talking about. Where here we go. So here's corn. And it's still way off its lows. This is
Yes.
what started it. It was a leader for a while, and this is what Tracy's talking about. Wheat just can't find a bottom. Starting to diverge, but just it can't find a bottom. But look,
Looks pretty
the
ugly.
beans look like a completely different market with a huge base. And I must have this black line here for a reason. It's been drawn for a while. We're approaching a breakout. So protein gold is what they call it, right, Trace?
Right.
Yeah. Um, so beans look like the best of breed in the grains, if you want to use a stock term. Um, any comment on this?
I don't trade that. I don't trade cannabis. I have no idea.
Oh, I was just thinking for, the next 4 years that their demand might increase.
I literally know nothing about cannabis stocks,
All
so
right.
I'm the
Anyway,
wrong person to
anyway,
ask.
don't buy
Mm.
it yet. There's confirmed lows. So anyway, I could see that. S&Ps, do you think that was it? And we're just the whole event, this whole thing we've lived through and traded through over the last couple months was just a dream, and
Um,
everything. What do you think?
who knows? I think we'll probably have, after generally after we have those kind of big moves, the market tends to consolidate a little bit. So we probably won't see as much volatility in these markets, but never say never in this current administration's Anything can happen. So, I prefer to just watch this one on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Larry Fink he's in Saudi Arabia now. He was just talking to the audience there, and he said there's still a ton of money on the sidelines. There's about 12 trillion in European bank accounts and 11 trillion in US money markets. So by and large, this rally that we've had in S&P has not been a lot of investment. It's really
Yeah.
kind of been a retail
What's a
chase.
short? It's been what? Short covering and retail, not
Yep,
institutional.
correct.
Okay, so the dumb money is buying this. And the
I think
institution, the dumb money's making money while the smart money hasn't committed after a 20% rally. So maybe the dumb money is the smart money.
maybe
Yeah.
I
Okay.
I don't like that term dumb money, but
Okay. Amateurish. How's that?
sure.
Okay. The amateurs, the shortstops. Uh, what do you think? You have any view on rates? You cover rates with Ninja?
Yep, we do cover rates. We know Bessent and the Trump administration desperately want those yields down.
Yeah, me
So
too.
I think and it looks pretty bullish, unfortunately for them. And so, I think you're gonna have see some sort of intervention by the treasury market, if that 10-year starts to get over, 4.55%. I think we'll see some finagling in the treasury market.
Okay, by who? The Fed or the Treasury? Because there was
The
something that,
Treasury, the Fed
yeah,
can only control the short end. They can't control
right.
the long end.
All right.
So, you can switch duration of the Treasury buying and selling. There's a lot of mechanisms they can use, but this is going to get very uncomfortable for them shortly
Yeah,
if
because I think,
this move continues.
okay, because I believe Vasant came out a couple of weeks ago and that the Treasury now has a facility to come in and buy bonds. And, you know,
Yep.
do you know what that was about? Is it new or it's just a facility that's always been there that they
It's
could?
kind of always been there. I mean, Yellen sort of used that. What she did is she changed duration
Okay,
of the Fed buying,
yeah,
which
short
affected
end.
the so
Yeah.
we'll see what they come up with. I mean, I think we're right at the point where they're not really happy. You get to 5% and they're really not going to be happy, but it still looks bullish to me.
All right, Trace. So, how do people find you and your show?
Yeah, so I have a 8 o'clock macro show every morning from 8 to 8:35. And then at 2:30 p.m. I have a hot commodity show, so a short commodities show.
Okay, and where do they find that? Just go to
And
your
so that's on
X,
YouTube, Ninja Trader YouTube channel.
Ninja Trader YouTube channel.
Yep.
Okay, so that's where you could find Trace. Are you still staying active on X?
Of course, I
Okay.
have a habit. I can't quit it.
All right. So another addict, ex addict, Tracy Shukart. Thanks for being here today. Appreciate it, and wish you a lot of success. I hope your show grows like a mushroom.
Pleasure is all mine. Thank you so much. Have a
All right,
great rest of your
Trace.
day, everybody.
Tracy Shukart, everyone. Follow Shy Girl wherever she goes. All right, and that's a wrap. Could join the team in 15 minutes on the morning edge. Don't just count your barrels, count your blessings, and see everyone tomorrow. Adios. See you, Javier Ingmar. Take it easy.